unknown did courageously steer. Through oceans to deserts for freedom they came, and dying bequeathed us their freedom and fame. In freedom we're born, and in freedom we live. Our purses are ready, steady, friends, steady. Not as slaves, but as free men among.
Anyway, welcome everyone. My name is Doug Ulwick. I'm the president of the Historical Society of Old Abington, and this is our November program today. For those at home or those who don't know, we run a series of conversations, 3 in the fall and 3 in the spring. And it used to be a program where someone would come in and speak, but that really kind of limited our topics that we could do, and so we changed it up to a conversation where I can ask questions that I think you might ask, or you can ask questions for that matter too. So don't hesitate if you have questions in the course of a presentation or at the end. We always allow room for questions too. But we start all of our programs, conversations, with a salute to the flag. So if you would join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. So I wanted to point out today something that's relatively new to us here in our presentations is Steve O'Neill is with us, the director of the Dyer. That never used to happen, so we welcome his presence and his involvement. And we have, though, been blessed with the attendance of Marilyn Zagarella-Weber back there, who's one of the trustees. Why are the other trustees here? No, again, they don't show up, but she does, so that's good. She's a member of both. Anyway, so last month we had Kevin Donovan, who's here, talk about the history of the Abington Fire Department. I understand from our cameraman that is available on cable at this point. I haven't seen it yet, and that also means it's on YouTube. We'll be posting the link for that, so if you missed it, you can see it. Today we're talking about baseball. We'll get to that in a minute. And our next program, excuse me, won't be here. We're going to go on a field trip. We're going to the Episcopal Church in Whitman. That will end out our series of conversations about Whitman history. This is, of course, their 100th anniversary year. And in the spring, we actually did our field trip to Whitman Town Hall and talked first about the formation of what led to the separation of the town 100 years ago, and then about forming a new town. And those are available on cable as well. So that was the spring, and so we'll end with a Whitman church. We try to always in December do a church, and the Episcopal church is, well, last year with the Rockland anniversary, we ended with the Episcopal church in Rockland. It just happened that way. We didn't plan it. But so they have a good written history. There's a lot to see. There are some rather famous stained glass windows there to show off that weren't actually originally planned for that building. They were somewhere else. But when they built that building, they managed to get their hands on it. So that's worth seeing too. I understand it's handicapped accessible, but that's probably around back because it certainly isn't from the street side. I'll put out more information about that so those who need access can get it. So that's coming up as well. We end this year with a reminder that our essay contest is still running. It runs all the time, but we kind of set a deadline by the end of the year for this year's submissions that the judges can review and award and present accordingly. So if you're working on something or want to work on something for this round, you have till the end of December for that. In the spring, we normally feature the winning essay, composition, whatever. It used to just be essays, and the committee, and the committee of 3, has broadened it out to be videos, essays, even artwork that is significant or relative to the local history, specifically the history of Abington. So, anything else on that, Marilyn? Is that kind of it?
I think you covered it.
Okay, thank you. Marilyn is, again, one of the three, and sitting next to her is Eileen, who's another one, and Deb Damon, who's not here right now, is the third. I was able to delegate that whole thing to them, and they've done marvelously with it as well. So I look forward to this year's submissions. That should be interesting. But that's about it for stuff, I think. I put out an email that the town of Abington recognized Abington's Best recently. And it was kind of a fun scenario in that Eileen nominated Danny Howland, who's over here, and had a rather long list of accomplishments that he's achieved around town. But what she didn't know was that she had been nominated also, I think by Kevin Donovan. And so she was there for Danny's presentation. He was led to believe that the presentation was for Kelly Johnson, who works for the Highway Department, and Abington Celebrates. So it was one big surprise. And the ceremony went very well. So we're pleased to see people who are so involved in what we do getting recognized for what they do on a bigger basis. They participate in a lot of things in this town and make a lot of things happen. So that's exciting to us, and I just wanted to not let that go unnoticed. Anyway, but today we're talking about America's favorite pastime as it relates to local history. And we have with us Brian Heffernan, who is, I had to get this list, former chairman of the Rockland Historic Commission, 30 years as an Abington letter carrier, 3-term state president of the Massachusetts State Letter Carriers Association. His grandmother was a friend of the Lannon family and knew all of the Red Sox, and that's pretty good. So, Van, welcome.
Thank you.
Other than a family connection here, I guess, kind of in a little remote way, do you have any other fascination that has brought you to study this to such a great degree? Because trust me, he studied this to a great degree.
Just Rockland history. I was not an athlete myself. I played softball on Sunday mornings.
Okay. Well, that's something.
But I wasn't an athlete.
Okay. And I actually read in a little background work that I was doing that as baseball came into play here in the 1800s, that there were 2 types played, and the New England stuff was basically a softball, perhaps, and New York was hardball. Or
the balls were big and lively. There were different ones, but we went by 2 sets of rules. The Massachusetts rules and the Knickerbocker rules in
Right.
New York.
Okay.
And actually, one of the first teams here in Rockland and Abington was playing by the New York rules.
Okay.
But they ended up throwing that out.
Shame on them.
Yeah, but they eventually went back to it. They needed to go back to it.
So when is the story? I mean, I'll jump to our first image, but when is our story starting?
I think it's the Ludo Pool House.
Somehow, yeah, but where did it go? I think our cameraman erased it, I swear. It was here.
Anyways, this house is on the corner of Exchange and Union Street.
John Burroughs had a business there.
And your Rockland people, Dr. Valicenti.
Oops, did we lose
That was his office.
video? Okay.
It went to sleep.
Yeah, oh, great.
But believe it or not, they had house raisings and barn raisings and things like that with the house. This was probably the last one where they had a meal after it was done, you know, a picnic and stuff like that. But it always ended up with a fist fight and somebody always getting beat up and stuff. But this particular one was in 1829. The 2 combatants beat themselves almost to death. One was from Rockland, one was from Abington.
Oh, that figures.
The Rockland guy was David Shaw and Nathan Gurney from Abington. But that pretty well ended that thing. And they went into tug-of-wars and stuff. But I believe that baseball started to come in. And if you read the poem that I passed out, I found that in the Rockland Standard in probably 1892 or 1882. And it predates the ball playing that we know, but it does mention them. It mentions the Sandlot 9 and the Temperance Boys stuff like that. But it's just somebody bragging going down the street. But
Now, I noticed most of the early stuff, it wasn't just, you mentioned a fist fight, but it also wasn't just that. Tug of war seemed to be something that was
It was,
aligned
but
with it.
I think the tug of wars went out of fashion pretty
Yeah.
quick, and they started playing baseball, and they started to get organized.
More of a gentleman's game.
Yes.
There you go. Anyway, so what else do we have queued up here?
But Clifford Poole, one of the historians in Rockland, dates the start of baseball back to 1854. And he said it started there and
Pre-Civil War.
started rolling. But they really started to get going about 1860.
Okay. Which is still Civil War, is it
And the
not?
Civil War
Yeah.
came up, and thanks to Pam Ryan, I have a couple pictures of the people.
Okay.
I think 8 out of 9 of them went into service, Pam, and 5 of them were killed.
But sounds about right.
We have pictures coming up
Yeah.
later in the display, but here we're looking at the King
This
Philip.
is
Now, why King Philip? Where did the name come from?
They say that there was a King Philip traveled through that area down in
The
on
Indian
Webster
Chief.
Street. Yes,
Okay.
and they said he camped there or whatever. And years ago, there was a little sign down there that said Indian House and pointed over behind the Maplewood Cemetery.
Okay. So, the local teams then formed what? Around neighborhoods? Around businesses? Around what?
They were friends and things, and they would vote on who was going to be in the top 9, and they had different teams.
Okay.
They had the top 9, the second top 9, and things like that. But they were around. They joined the associations, the state association, a national association that was formed in Cooperstown, New York. And this is actually the Civil War. This is a little later. than-
1873,
than the
74, yeah, absolutely. And then King Philip Baseball Club, 9, is that?
That's a
numbers-
number of players.
A number of players, okay. And this is a little, again, we're still early here.
And well, in 1865, they challenged the Boston team, the Tri-Mountains.
Okay,
And they were granted, after a while, they were granted access to play them on Boston Garden,
Oh, wow.
Boston Common.
okay.
And there were between 10,000 and 20,000 fans there.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. And the King Philip's won 16-10. We have a list of the.
The guys from the suburbs, from Rockland, won in Boston?
And they considered the players from Rockland and Abington to be peggers and waxers, things like
Rubes.
shoe people. You know.
Groups, there you go, exactly.
I'm sure they didn't like to come out to Abington either, you know.
Probably
from the
not.
big city.
They had to take a train, a train league by all means. This one, this is a bird's eye view. There's a large size one here, and I know we're going to be looking at fields, but let's take a look here to get orientation. I find it a little difficult to orient myself to this.
This is the center here, the church.
That is the Congregational Church. So I'm looking at Union Street coming this way.
This
Is that
way.
right?
And you're
And this
going
is going to
down.
be Water Street here.
This is Water here.
Okay, got it. Water.
And here, I don't know if you can make out the ball field.
I think we enlarged that in the next screen.
This
but I
was a
just kinda
little
wanna get
later
the
too.
big
This
thing.
was 1875 because the fence is here.
They actually fenced it off.
They actually, when they started out, had a field over here. That's where they came in with a
Actually,
sand lot.
Let's jump the next
9.
one. So this is it
Up in
here.
this area here.
Okay.
This was Thomas Lane Field. But when they say sand lot, there was a lot of sand out there, and actually a few people lost their lives out there
Oh my God.
because of the sand. But this is, like I said, this is a little later. This is 1875. You can see the fence that goes around. The original field was up here. They moved it down a little bit. 6.5 acres,
It's pretty big.
and they leased it. But this is when they turned semi-pro because the fence was put up to collect money. And
They had a gate.
yeah, yeah.
Now you said lane. I mean, there was a shoe manufacturer lane, was it not?
There were a few of them. This is this was Thomas Lane Field here,
Okay.
and this one was John Lane Field.
Across the street, basically?
Yes.
Okay.
And then down on North Ave, there was another Lane Field there. It was a John Lane Field.
The Lanes were really into this.
Yeah.
Or they owned a lot of real estate, one or the other. That's great. This looks like the Rockland train coming through here. Is that right?
Is that
The Hanover branch?
Yes.
That's the Hanover branch coming through. Okay.
There was
Heading
also
down to
there were
Market.
fields everywhere. There was a field down. This is Mitchell's Field down below.
No, did all towns have this concentration of fields, or had this really
I don't
taken,
think so. There's not
taken
really,
root in Rockland?
There's not really any mention of big
We have to
teams.
remember he's from the Rockland Historical
Sorry.
Society, so there's a little maybe prejudice here regarding this topic.
Where is Hingham Street on that map?
Hingham is way up. See the loop there? The pond's no longer there. But Hingham Street goes down this way.
Oh, yeah.
And Hartsa Park was a field that they played on later.
Right.
And they blasted the ball out of that field how far?
Oh, the field was the other way around. If you know Hartsa Park right now,
Yeah.
the field goes out and hits towards Accord Pond.
Yeah.
Well, the field was the other way. And one of the guys hit a home run. They thought it was going to hit the Knights of Columbus. That's how it looked like. One of the
That would have been long.
guys in Boston, you know, the church that is right near the Boston Common,
Yeah.
hit it over
Over the church.
the steeple.
Over Park Street too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay. So these portraits are familiar to me. They look like the GAR Hall in
These
Rockland.
are courtesy of Pam Ryan,
Thank you, Pam
the
Ryan.
chairman of the Rockland Historical Commission.
There you
now.
go. Rockland's well represented today. Do we know who we're looking at here?
I do, but I can't see it. Do you know who they are, Pam?
Yeah, that's L. Frank Cushing on the left and who was on the right.
And there's another one.
Okay, one more in this series. And there's a couple we don't have pictures for, Ansel
So I
Randall
put the names in.
and Franklin
And I-
Williamson.
Oh,
I
yeah.
believe last time I talked to you, Pam, we were saying the Randall name, they had it down as Rand.
Yeah, I think it's Randall. He
Right, I do
was-
too.
He was just a Randolph guy.
I agree with you.
I had pictures of him,
Okay, there's a lot of
Do you know
information
anything
up
about that Williamson?
but that he's not returned. I have no image.
there. That's okay. We're lucky to get the images we
So
do,
were they
let's face it.
baseball players?
They were on the original team and they were killed in the Civil War,
Oh, good.
killed in action.
I did recognize the portraits. Games, this is interesting. Some of the
This
early
one is
teams and
the,
scores.
this one's the game I told you
point it up
about.
here.
Whoops, sorry. I'm doing, you told me not to.
I did. Our presenters think they can point at it on the laptop screen and that you're gonna see it, so.
The first one is the game I told you about when they upset the Tri-Mountain team in Boston. And of course, the Tri-Mountains had the right to come right back, and they beat the King Phillips 38-37.
So they both lost on their home turf is what it
Yes.
came down to.
And then they challenged, they thought they were in line for the balls or whatever, and they challenged the Lowells to a game, and they were annihilated in that.
It
game.
looks it, yes.
But a couple of years later, these two teams played in Weymouth, and the King Phillips beat them 22-2.
That's amazing.
This is another game, Boston Common. I'm trying to get at the Eastern game. This was the Silver Ball game.
Oh,
This is the one we have over here.
you grab it if you'd like. I mean, let them know what it is, because I understand it's pretty rare.
So were these 9-inning games that they can score
Yes.
seven?
They called them something else. I forget what it was, like 27 chances or something.
Now-
This was the ball from Eastern Mass when they beat the Anawams. That's another thing
Anawams
back
of
when
Mansfield.
you're, where did King Philip come from? There were quite a few Indian
Indian names,
teams.
okay.
But
Are these from the Dyer collection or from your?
these are the Dyers.
Okay,
I think Eileen's over there.
they're pretty rare.
But some lady just dropped them off one day a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
They're priceless.
And I was gonna say the silver one in particular
Yes.
is like, good luck finding one.
When the state, when you won the Silver Ball, you got to keep it, and a lot of them were destroyed.
Yeah.
This one here is probably the only one that's around. But
We have good stuff here. That's all there is to it.
at the Eastern game, after 9 innings, they were tied. And then East Abington, King Phillips pulled away and won the Silver Ball. They had won every game that season, and this was the toughest game
Unbeatables.
that came through.
And now this is post-Civil War, right?
Yes.
By then. So in spite of
1867.
having the original team decimated by the Civil War,
They had different teams. They had the
Okay, but
first
King-
9, the second 9.
okay, so King Philip wasn't just a finite number, it was a bigger group.
Yes,
Okay,
and they were elected to play.
interesting.
Yeah.
Do they have to audition?
I don't know.
One would think.
I told you one story of somebody, the Rockland guy said he was too slow and he ended up being in the major leagues.
Well, there are different scales to judge how they do, let's face it.
And this game, every factory in town was closed. It was like a ghost
So it was a
town.
huge event.
Everybody went to the thing. They said every road led to Easton.
Amazing. Now, I would have expected by this time, when shoes and shoe factory reigned supreme, that the shoe factories would have had like in-house teams. Is there any evidence
I really
of
didn't
that?
even see it. I
Didn't
told
happen.
you earlier the Stetson shoe.
Yeah, they
had
didn't hear it, though.
team. Okay. Stetson shoe had a team, but
That's Weymouth, so Stetson
they
shoe.
had the Printers. Those were local teams. Printers and the Barbers would play.
Okay, so by profession more than by like factory, because of course the three towns all had huge shoe factories.
And after this, after the 70s, a lot of the local towns, there were teams everywhere. The Ville played the Reed Streets and stuff like that, Pacific Street and stuff like that.
We're still talking Rockland.
Oh, North Ave. That's it.
North Ave, Rockland, yes, that's fine.
The Ville was from just beyond the church on North Ave. There was a a furniture store there years
Okay.
ago. Rock something. I forget what was the name of it.
Sorry?
But it went down almost to Division Street. That was the Ville. And if you didn't belong in the Ville and it was dark out, you had to get out of there pretty quick. it was good news.
Kinda dodgy.
They were a rough bunch.
Kind of dodgy, but that's fine. Anyway, what comes next in this? That's Mr. Lannon, isn't
I
it?
don't know if you wanted to go to that first.
It popped up next.
This is Joe Lannon, and he owned the Red Sox. He was quite a guy. He was born in Canada. He was the second to the last child. His mother died, made him an orphan when he was 14 years old. He walked to Rockland. It was 410 miles.
Wow. Why Rockland?
I think his cousins were here.
Okay, there was some relation.
Some people say that Tom was his brother, or I think Tom was his cousin.
Okay.
But he was he worked in the hotels in Boston. He was into everything. He was a good businessman. He had a lot of stock in the Braves.
Okay.
And an opportunity came up in 1913 where he had to sell his stock to buy into the Red Sox.
Oh,
And
sounds like it was a good move.
yeah. I'm trying to think. He was the one that brought up Babe Ruth from the minors.
Okay. I think we have pictures about something about that. What's next on line here? Here we go.
July
From 1914.
14. They won the championship in 15 and 16.
Okay.
But Lannon, he really didn't like the business. He said, I'd rather be a fan than an owner.
Okay.
And he had a fight with Tris Speaker, was in there.
I don't know who that was.
He was a famous outfielder.
Okay.
And he got a lot of money and stuff like that. But when they went to renew Tris Speaker's contract, a new league had come in.
Okay.
Similar to the hockey league in the 70s when they were
Right.
throwing money around with the Whalers and stuff like that. Well, they offered him some money. Lannon counted and offered him $9,000.
Which was huge
Something-
money
yeah.
back then.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So when the new league folded, Lannon did the only business thing he could think of. He reduced Tris Speaker's pay back to what it was before.
Oops.
There was no threat anymore. You know.
He owned it. Now, I think of Lannon in Rockland later, like Lannon Brothers Motors.
Bill Lannon was
Okay.
down there. Bill Lannon, I think, was a cousin. I think Eileen, was it the Cahills down on Howard Street that
The locks,
they were related?
the locks.
The Locks.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if,
There was a guy that his actual name was Locke Lannon.
Oh, cool. Like Loch Ness?
well,
Penny.
well, you've got Babe Ruth up there. I grew up in Providence. My father played semi-professional baseball for a team called the Monarchs, the Providence Monarchs. And in the late 20s, Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig were making tours of the different cities, drumming up interest in baseball. There wasn't much organization to the team, so my dad got to be on Lou Gehrig's team. They played where the VA hospital is now, and they played an exhibition game. So my dad was on Lou Gehrig's team, and my uncle got to be on Babe Ruth's team. But just to think that there was so little interest in baseball that they were doing that. shortly after that, Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig had a falling out, and they stopped
Doing that.
So my dad he said Babe Ruth was giving all the players who were mostly kids out of high school. There was not many people went to college to play. You know, my
Right.
dad had played in high school, but he said Babe Ruth was giving all the young players piggyback rides around the baseball. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but you know, look at where it's come now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Babe Ruth actually came to Rockland. Lannon had them come there in January of 1915. And then they came back in May, and it was before they won the series. Lannon wasn't here the second time. When I was chairman of the Historical Commission, somebody told us that Babe Ruth was here, he had a few too many drinks, and he dove into somebody's fountain. And the only fountains we could find were Magoon's Funeral Home,
Okay.
the beer company that was over here on Adams Street.
How did I miss the beer company on Adams Street?
What was the name of that, Eileen? Eileen will remember.
Murphy Ale.
Murphy Ale.
Now, why does Eileen know about it? We won't go there.
But a funny thing is, when I researched it, Babe Ruth's wife was with him. So I don't think he was fooling around that much.
Probably not, unless she was used to it. Cool. Anyway, this looks once again like Mr. Lannon.
Yeah, this is what they organized there to celebrate Rockland and things like that. They had 2 trains go in. They thought they'd have 300 or 400 people. They had 1,400.
Wow.
So
Needed an extra train.
yeah, there were 2 trains that went in there.
They could have taken 3 at that rate.
Yeah. They had Mr. Lannon was very generous. And this Rockland Day, he set aside a whole section that was right beside the dugout. The next day, he had a woman's suffrage thing where he did the same thing.
Oh, wow.
He donated a whole section.
Did his wife make him do that?
that?
Now, this is is this part of the crew that went in, or what? I mean,
This is a Rooster, Rooters, or whatever. They were around for years.
Okay.
They were Red Sox fans, and a lot of them were Rockland fans.
and very well
They
dressed.
went in. And the big thing about them, Lannon would give them a section by themselves, right next to the board. After Lannon sold the team, Frazee, who bought the team, did not recognize this, and they went crazy. And this guy's one of them. This is Honey Fitz. And he was one of the big routers and all this, all this stuff.
So this
for
is
them.
the father of
JFK's
Rose.
grandfather.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And one of the things when they were in the World Series, I think it was 1916, the ticket sales, these people protested. And the ticket sales went from 32,000 down to 17,000. So they needed some attention, you know.
They needed to be known.
Yeah.
You couldn't ignore that.
Yeah.
So they were very influential in their numbers and in their resolve to fight the system.
Honey Fitz was around Rockland quite a bit. And,
Really?
His daughter Rose, when she announced that she was getting married or coming out or whatever they did back then,
to Kennedy.
3 people from Rockland were invited to it. The Donovan, who owned the house across from the library, the big yellow mansion there, and Joe Lannon's wife and daughter Dorothy went to that party.
Now, Mr. Lannon met an interesting end from what I read. He owned property, a hotel or several of them.
He sold the Red Sox.
Garden City, I think. But yeah.
He sold the Red Sox to Harry Frazee. And a lot of people blame him for Frazee for selling Babe Ruth. And the odd thing about Babe Ruth, the selling of him, they didn't get any players in return.
That is odd.
And then Frazee was a little bit tight with money, and he needed something. And everybody says that his plays that he had in New York City were losing money and stuff. A lot of them weren't losing money; they were actually making money. One of them was No No Nanette.
Yeah, big one.
And he actually had money; he just had to move it around. And he asked Lannon to renegotiate their loan. Lannon kept as collateral his portion of the land that Fenway Park
Oh,
was
wow.
under.
Okay.
And
The
the other-
property, physically.
The other
yeah.
partner was the owners of the Boston Globe.
Interesting.
They were in on that. Lannon
I want
refused
to say
to.
Winthrop, is that right?
I'm trying to think of the name myself.
Yeah, it starts with a W, but okay.
But Landon refused to renegotiate, so that put Frazee into a bind. and he had to start selling off
So
players.
this is a very carefully worded story about his passing. He was on the 9th floor of a hotel that he owned in, I believe, Garden City, Brooklyn, I'm sorry.
It was Garden City, I think.
Okay, and fell out the window, 7 stories to his death. They made a point of saying that it was a fairly narrow window, that he didn't just accidentally fall out of it, but left it up to the reader to understand if he killed himself or was pushed. And, you know, there's some pretty, he was there to inspect a plaster job. That was ostensibly why he was in this building and on that floor. So they left it up to the reader to decide, but they kind of indicated this was a little shady one way or another. There was no indication he had a reason to end his life. He was a successful businessman, he had a good family, he had a very successful life and career. So, hint, 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 it could have been an execution. Yes?
Just back a second, was Honey Fitz the mayor?
Yes, the
Of
mayor of
Boston.
Boston.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was here quite a bit. He was friends, and he had a lot of friends in Rockland. Joe Landon, at the time of his death, it was 1928, I believe,
That sounds right.
and he was worth $7 million.
Yeah. So he didn't
that's
have
a
money
lot-
troubles.
A lot of money for a kid that walked down to
Yeah.
Rockland.
Yeah. Certainly, local guy, well, not local, eventually local guy made good, so. But this one fascinated me, that the way the article was written, I mean, it was kind of tabloid journalism, but not. I mean, they really kind of said, we don't know, but this is suspicious. And I don't know that it ever got investigated before then. We didn't do forensic science
Yeah,
back
we
then,
didn't.
so now it would be a TV made-for-movie
Yeah,
special or
conspiracy.
something like that. Maybe it still will be. This is a fascinating
Yeah.
story.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And it ties into the Red Sox and ties into everything, so.
I
it's-
have the Rockland obituary too, if anybody wants to
Yeah,
read it.
we only put so much on screen.
Yep.
Anyway, some other newspaper bits here.
This was the milk fund. It supplemented the milk for the kids in the school. Believe it was started by the Kiwanis Club in 1928. But you could see Babe Ruth was coming to Rockland. Babe Ruth didn't get here. He was hired by the Braves and was told he would be a coach and a player. And what the Braves wanted was his name.
Yeah.
And the coach of the Braves at the time wanted no part of Babe Ruth. So it didn't last long.
So they lied to him.
Yeah, yeah,
there.
they-
Okay.
But that went on for about 8 years. And they had the Braves were here quite a bit. There were a lot of the Braves were here.
Now, to actually play, or this was
Yeah,
a
to
celebrity
play.
appearance?
They played the Falmouth team here, and,
Okay.
and the Milk Fund got some of the proceeds.
Okay.
I think it was $10,000 over about 8 years.
So this was an early version of free school lunches,
Yes,
basically.
yes.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
But there are a lot of famous ball players came through.
Okay. I think I remember from my elementary school experience that you could buy milk and bring the rest of your lunch or something like that.
I have an 88-year-old friend that Dick knows that I drive to the senior center once in a while, and I'll throw the names out. He knew them all. You know? Dima Ranville was one guy, and
I know that from the lumber
but
business,
the
actually.
owner of the Braves was very friendly with everybody. His name was Judge Emile Foch,
Foch?
and you have to watch the way you say
You
it.
do have to watch how you say it. Yes, okay.
But he was very friendly with a lot of people, and as a matter of fact, he sent Christmas greetings to the town of Rockland.
Wow. Okay. So Rockland was really put on the map by baseball.
Sure.
Who knew? It's a new chapter for me, that's for sure. Anyway, here was the
This-
milk fund mentioned again.
This was sent to me by one of the Lullyvilles, and he uses a code name when he's on, I won't say code name, tag.
Profile
when he's
name
on,
or-
when he's on Facebook.
Okay,
and stuff. He calls him
profile.
Turtle, something.
Okay.
Tudor Turtle, I think it was, but he sent me this.
Randall would have been maybe Randall Print?
Yes.
Okay, so tickets donated, in other words, they printed the tickets
Mhm.
by Randall Print. And that, okay, for those who don't know, that was in the block between Church Street and what's the next one to the south?
Pacific?
No.
Is it Pacific
wrong
or
side.
Reed Dam?
What, Lollipops?
Yes.
No,
Is that-
Randall Print.
Oh, Randall Print. I thought they were down on Concord Street for a while.
Yeah, next to the Baptist church.
Okay.
That's the parking lot.
Okay, that's fun. Yeah, so I mean, local businesses jumping in to help out with the event as well.
One thing that I thought was interesting, I'll just throw it out there, I have union in my background, but the original Lollyville that came over to this country was best friends with Samuel Gompers
Oh,
when they
really?
were kids, and Samuel Gompers became an AFL-CIO.
Oh, yeah.
Big guy.
Big union guy, no question. Excellent, okay. The lost image.
And this is Casey Stengel. Casey Stengel was a member of the Braves that came to Rockland. He loved going to the Hotel Thomas, and he was just a regular player back then. I don't know if anybody knows, some of you guys would know that Casey Stengel was the coach of the New York Yankees. And a trivia question for you is the guy that hit the first home run in Yankee Stadium, the house that Ruth built,
Yes.
was Casey Stengel. And it was an in-ground, the park home run.
Okay.
But he loved going to the hotel, and I think he evidently, I think he won 10 out of 12 pennants for the New York Yankees.
The Hotel Thomas had a very colorful
Yeah.
history,
Oh,
I
yeah,
recall.
very.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's
But,
probably best left there, but.
I think his last coaching job was in '62 or something like that, and of course the Yankees just got rid of him. See you later, we don't need you anymore.
You had mentioned to me in our private conversations also an Abington connection, a lynch or something, and
It's the fire chief was a Parker. Oh, the girls, King Phillips played a girl team, and the girl team was from around Abington. And they could only come up with 8 players, so they threw in an Abington guy to play shortstop.
okay.
But one of the girls' name is Parker.
Okay.
Was it Jenny Parker? Or, Lizzie, or
Okay.
something like that. And I couldn't find her when I looked up some of the stuff. But I saw this hat, and a friend of mine, Jimmy Johnson, who was a mailman in Rockland, had told me that his great-grandfather or his grandfather was the deputy fire chief in Rockland. His name was Parker.
Bill Packer.
And the Parkers, when it came down, a Parker married a Lynch. And the Lynches were related to the store.
Yeah, actually, the Old Town Cafe was at one point Lynch's, and I was chatting with Bill Jenowitz on the Vineyard, who owns the building, and he remembers it from his youth. He said there was like a sandwich bar at one part of it, and the rest was a store, and he knew who lived upstairs. Riley, actually, it was Riley who lived upstairs. He'd go and collect the rent when he was young, collect the rent for his grandfather. I love how these stories all interconnect, and there are people I can call who know something about something. And as soon as you mentioned Lynch, I said, wait a minute, okay, that's going to be from that building and that store. And sure enough, the owner of the building knew the story and had lived it because the building had been his family.
The newspaper article listed all the names, and I tried to find them, but it's hard to find a lady back then when she gets married, her name changes and stuff like this. But this
Yeah.
particular Parker girl came down through that line, and there's still people around here that know them.
Cool.
And one more interesting thing there
Please.
was Billy Lynch, that owns the little
Bar?
Mackey's there, the little bar, was in my first grade class.
No.
And one day somebody had a class picture, and I brought it in and showed Billy. I said, "Hey, you?" And he said, "Yeah, it is."
You know too much about too many people sometimes. Small town stuff, we all run into it, which is kind of fun. So, anyway, would you tell us about the literature you passed out that's on people's seats? It's something we can put up online too.
This was something that I found in there. I thought this was early. I thought this was in the 1840s or something like that. And then, like I said, it did mention 2 teams. But it was just somebody bragging about their thing. It's not a particularly great poem or anything like that. But that's where it started.
Okay.
A lot of players, especially the catchers, were hurt back then. The catchers would break their fingers. The King Phillips, when they came in, they had a guy who could throw a curveball when they were throwing underhand and twist it and stuff. And that worked great for the batter, but it wasn't too great for the
Catcher.
who got hurt.
Well, they
Quite a
wear a
bit.
lot of gear nowadays. So.
And they wore something then.
Yeah.
There was a young man from Hanover Fire Department, West Hanover, that was hit on the side of the head, but he had a mask on, I believe. And they revived him on the field. He went home, had dinner, and the next morning he was gone.
Yeah,
So-
okay, the damage was done.
Yes.
Yeah, it's tough. When we think of all the protective gear and all the rules and everything that exist now,
Some
those
of
had
the-
to come from somewhere.
Some of the Massachusetts rules that they had no foul line. The Massachusetts get-up was, you know, how it's a diamond now, was square then.
Oh, really?
But you could also throw the ball at the guy and get him out.
Oh.
Hit him with the ball.
Hit him with the ball, okay. And I read in the early days, I mean, they didn't have bases, they had poles
Yeah.
with flags on them, so would have been kind of hard to slide into home at that rate when there's a post there, so.
And the field that the King Philip started out on, way down on Webster behind the cemetery, they said that third base was up high and second base was down low. And the Rockland team
The
in,
cows didn't care, so.
in 1887, they used that field, and then they moved to Hartsa Park.
Which was flatter.
Yes.
Yeah, that kind of, it's a sales point right there. Flat field, I'm sure would have been
And
a
that-
little more conducive to good play.
Hartsa Park was a beautiful field. And in 1908 or 1911 or something, they sold off the rights to the pine trees.
Oh.
To Lot Phillips down in
Oh, from
Hanover,
Hanover.
who
Yeah.
started to chop down the trees.
Okay.
Then it was found out that the selectmen in Rockland went to buy the land to stop this. And they found out that they couldn't do it. It had to go to the recreation department or something like
Politics,
fill with that.
and Lot couldn't wait.
Yeah, and he started cutting over right away.
But pine, I don't know what you do with it.
Yeah,
so,
there was a lot of pine.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Lot found some way to make money from it. That's fine. But, cool. So what other stories are we leaving out? We have a few moments.
There was another field that they used was, I can't think, Ridge Hill, which was down in front of Adcott Pond. It's down by your house, Dick.
It's where my mother lived.
And the Ridge Hill swept from Adcott Pond right across to Grove Street. And they had a lot of baseball going on. A lot of the King Phillips played there. And they
that
went
be
in
like-
and out of.
Would that be like where the 99 is today
Yes.
and the theater?
And
and
right
that
across,
little
Grove
Nickerson
Street is the
Theater?
main street that goes
Got it. Okay.
out towards the water.
Okay. So they were on the south side of Accord Pond.
And it was a big place that was all done over and everything
Yeah.
like that. And then it went downhill, and then they brought it back, and then it was like too far away from Rockland. Hartsa Park was too far away after nobody wanted
Well,
to
if you
get
couldn't
out.
take a trolley car to get
Yeah.
there, then that was too far away. So these athletes who could do all these games couldn't walk that far. Or the crowds couldn't, more importantly.
Yeah.
They had to have the gate,
Yeah.
so that makes a big difference. So I just sense that things petered out. I mean, we have high school leagues and that sort of thing now, but this level of play didn't sustain.
Yeah.
Was it a world war? Was it the Spanish flu? Or do we know why it went downhill? Did it get replaced by something?
I read an article that it was replaced by football and basketball because
Competition.
they were easy to collect the money.
Okay.
You know, you had the basketball was in the school, and the
inside.
football was out there,
Yeah.
and the baseball teams were down back. You know,
Okay. Okay.
And people didn't go down to them.
So they were eclipsed by
other
competing athletics,
Yeah.
basically. Different skills to play those different athletics, though. I mean, we think of the build of a baseball player versus a football player versus a whatever.
And Abington had a great football team. Rockland had great basketball teams.
I seem to remember just even a few years back, the Patriots were at Fenway Park, and someone commented, "These guys are little compared to football players." They are.
Yeah.
So a different set of athletic skills, certainly at the same time. But obviously, you know, baseball's still big in all the three
sure.
towns. But at high school level, do we still? I'm not even aware. Do we still have other leagues out there playing? At some level, some semi-pro or whatever in the Tri-Town area?
I don't know if there's any in the air. Used to
Okay.
have a Legion used to have a.
Okay. Marilyn Weber, your husband's highly involved in baseball.
He played for the Rockland team and the Abington team for semi-pro.
Semi-pro, okay.
Oh,
And
yeah.
what were they called, do you know?
Rockland and Abington.
Rockland,
Yeah.
Abington, semi-pro. Okay, there we go.
I think one of the players was Bill Donovan, a teacher in Rockland. He lived right down here on Dunbar.
Could have been.
He was a
Yeah.
good pitcher, and somebody was mad because Bill Donovan switched to another school and they lost their best pitcher.
Funny, Whitman, actually, I can remember this, they were the Whitman Colonials
Okay.
at that time.
Okay.
That was back in the 1970s, early 70s.
Are you aware if they're still out there, or?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm
Les
really
kinda-
curious as to,
He went on to senior men's baseball and kind of spread out to different places, like Brockton had something.
you mean he got old?
He did that until 2018.
Of course, Les Weber's from Rockland, so
Yeah.
we're back to Rockland
Yeah.
again, so.
And they had some semi-pro,
It keeps circling back to
yeah.
Rockland every time we talk about baseball. It's kind of interesting.
they had semi-pro football teams that were around here. I think the Randolph Oilers,
Yeah.
stuff like that. When I worked in the construction back in the late 60s, and would get the one of the Randolph Oilers or a football player in, the owner of the company would say, "Oh, this guy's, he's throwing rocks around." We'd say, "Oh no, he's going to be the worst." And he was the worst worker in the world. He wanted no part of working for a living.
Playing sports for a living,
Yeah.
though, that's different. Absolutely. Anyway, well, this is great. I mean, it's a good time for audience questions, I think, as much as anything else. And Penny, your email name is like Red Sox something, isn't it? Okay, I thought
Yes,
so.
yeah.
A major fan here. Every time I have to type an email, Red Sox, what?
Yeah, my dad, I grew up in Providence, and my dad took me on the train the first time I was 3 years old from Providence, and we walked from South Station to Fenway Park as a 3-year-old.
Okay.
All 3 years old,
We
wow.
stopped at the Swan boats and all that, yeah.
So, okay, now let's talk motivation here. Was that to introduce you to the game, or that's because he wanted to go and had to take his daughter?
Oh, he took me to all sports.
Okay, okay, here we go again.
She enjoyed it,
Okay.
Yeah.
She better have enjoyed it.
but she still enjoys it.
Yeah,
Lifelong fan. Again, her email name.
When I was washing dishes as a young kid, the owner had 4 season tickets to the Red Sox, plus a parking ticket.
That's
And
huge.
He would come in and just pass me the ticket, so I would take my junk box and drive all the way and have him park it for me
yeah.
and everything. And of course, I saw Sonny Siebert and all those players, Raleigh Fingers, and of course, my big mouth, I let it out. Everybody wants the tickets. So I lost that.
So I saw Ted Williams play,
Tim?
John DiMaggio, Bobby Dore, Johnny
Bobby.
Pesky, Vern Stevens, yeah.
My
That's great.
grandmother on my other side, the one that didn't know Babe Ruth, she was from like Spencer, Mass. And she had some pictures out, and one of them said Bobby Dore. So we said, "Oh, that was a Red Sox." And she said, "That guy was always playing baseball." I was getting a beer in Fenway Park, and Rico Petrocelli hit a grand slam home run. And I'm watching it on TV.
Well, you were close to being
Yeah.
there. And now you brought other materials with you today. We have the bird's eye view, which you can examine the field we just pointed out on. And on this side, some of the stuff is the Dyer collection stuff, the silver baseball, which I think we should put under lock and key.
I know that.
Yeah, really.
It's one of a kind.
There's a lot of stuff in this building. I shouldn't say that out loud, but
What an amazing thing for the lady to walk in and pass it.
donate.
Pam had that happen down in, the lady had the bat. Remember the bat? The lady came in and showed you she had found a bat in her attic?
Yeah,
And they're playing bat, not a real bat.
yeah. She's a custodian in the school system.
Uh,
Sherry Allen.
Was it Burrell that was written on the bat?
I forget.
Etched in?
I remember the author of the book on John L. Sullivan came in to speak to us one day and didn't know until we brought it out that we had his boxing gloves. 2 pairs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so as I said, a lot of good stuff in the building. Excuse me. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
As I'm joking, is that Give me a minute. Thank you for the lights. So, excuse me, we have refreshments in the back room, and you're welcome to join us back there.
It's that
Lots of
candy
Cracker
corn.
Jack.
Yeah, it's a Cracker
And
Jack.
peanuts. So,
I asked Doug, I said, who would eat that stuff?
watch it all go, you know,
Use a
really.
gallon of water.
That's what I need right now. Anyway, so the conversation can obviously continue in the back room. I'm going to ask the question I usually ask at the end of one of our meetings. Members of the Historical Society, if you please raise your hand and look around and see who didn't raise their hands, and make sure you introduce yourself and say hi. I have membership forms on the entry desk, as well as two of our lists. We have a list for, be added to our email list, which goes out regularly. And we still turn out postcards. Not many, but if you'd like to be on our opt-in list for postcards, sign up for that sheet right as well. So thank you all for being here. Hopefully you'll all be able to join us in Whitman for the tour and history lesson at the Episcopal Church. So, pardon me for losing my voice here, I'll be fine. Thank you all for being here. And thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, well done.
I don't know if everybody knows Rich Nichols. I'm not throwing a plug. Rich Nichols is a Abraham Lincoln impersonator, or
Well, I do earlier on the top.
you're gonna do one at the Rockland Senior Center, right?
That's the million.